Hello, hello! David Snowpeck here from Snowpeck Games. Welcome to the stream. I see in the chat already we have Square Peg Makes Games, Daniel Miller, I can talk, I know words, Andreas Friedel, and Ricardo. And for some reason, we have Mr. Square Peg twice. I don't know why Discord does this thing when I'm streaming where it puts the usernames as just the first letter and 3 dots, and I have no idea why that is. Does anyone else know? It's really frustrating because normally I see everyone's username and then I start streaming and I want to say hey, hello to whoever people, and it just says M dot 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 R dot dot dot. And I know Ricardo's Ricardo from the picture, but it's really annoying. Anyway, how is everyone doing today? How has your week been? My week has been exhausting. I am so exhausted and so tired, and I didn't sleep all that good. I woke up at 4 a.m. for no apparent reason, and so I apologize if my brain is not operating on full efficiency. But man, am I ready for a weekend? I'm ready to sleep in and play video games and chill with my daughters. That's what I'm ready to do. But yeah. How are your guys' projects going? How are things? I actually don't have that much news on game stuff. Last stream, I tried to get back into doing Ricardo, so true. We'll get into that. I started digging back into the Fairies and Bees game, and we kind of got nowhere, and I haven't managed to keep running with that. I did though release finally SG Physics 2D as a GD extension for Godot 4. I had planned originally to do that in January. Took a little while. I wasn't expecting that I'd need to help out so much on fixing up GDExtension itself to make that happen, but that is great. I'm super excited about that. That means next month I'm going to try to focus on porting the Godot rollback netcode add-on to Godot 4, and maybe finally finishing that tutorial series. I think in 2 videos I could probably finally round it out. But yeah, so that's exciting stuff. What is SG Physics 2D? Well, SG Physics 2D is a deterministic 2D physics engine for Godot that I created originally to do rollback netcode for a game that I made called Retro Tank Party. And a bunch of other people have picked up the Godot rollback netcode add-on and SG Physics 2D to make their own rollback netcode based games. But yeah, we made that in the in the Godot 3 era. I like how Ricardo says it stands for Super Good Physics 2D. we can retrofit that to anything we want at this point. So the SG is supposed to be for Snowpeck Games, but we can say Super Good. We can say Slippery Gremlins. I don't know. We can name it whatever we want. So, ooh, I missed what Andreas said here. Finished a huge user story, so I'm good. User story meaning you've completed a user story in the Jira sense, you had this user story ticket and you implemented it, or you finished writing it, or what does that mean? Slippery Gremlins is fine. In any case, congrats on finishing that. What was I going to say? I had a thing I was going to say. Oh, I was going to talk about Ricardo's comment. So Ricardo says, GDNative is coming back. I thought David didn't like GDNative. And it's true. I don't particularly like GDNative. But I think that's because of this mismatched use case thing going on here. So in Godot 3, we had GDNative, which let you write C++ that could be loaded into Godot. And I didn't particularly like it because what I wanted to do with C++ was extend Godot, was effectively to write Godot modules, but not have them compiled into the engine, but have them be loadable. That's what GDExtension is for Godot 4. Basically, it allows you to write roughly the same code as a Godot module, but have it be loaded into the engine, and it gives you the full power of Godot modules. So yeah, that's great. Yay! However, there's this other use case which is doing your scripting, doing your game logic in C++, which is not something that's ever really interested me. I like GDScript. If GDScript can't do it, I'm fine going to C#. That's also great. So C++ would not be my personal choice for a game scripting language. But there's a whole bunch of people who do that. And I guess in Unreal you do that. So, there's definitely a community of folks who want to do that. And they are not very happy with GDExtension. They're like, I want my GDNative back. And there's actually a really long issue. I had attempted to look it up earlier, and I guess I got distracted. This is my sleep-deprived brain kicking in here, of me trying to find this issue. I wonder if it's in the Godot repo. Anyway, there's this issue in the Godot repo or the Godot CPP repo somewhere where folks are ostensibly the issue is about hot reloading, but it turned into a whole thing. Not pull requests. I'm always going into pull requests. Okay, GDExtension reload. I can't find it. My brain is broken. Seriously, this is like an issue with like 11 comments on it. Okay, it's linked from this issue for sure. We're going to go to this issue, and we are going to find the link. Here we go. It was in Godot. I don't know why I couldn't find it just there. Anyway, so this issue starts talking about how you can't hot reload a GDExtension, which is a problem. We should have a way to make it easier to do development on a GDExtension and reload it quickly. But it kind of turned into a whole tangent about why a bunch of people actually find GDNative more useful than GDExtension. So like, I think this comment is about where the thread changed, and it has 51 thumbs ups and 19 hearts. So this other use case, which was never that interesting to me, but is interesting to a whole ton of people, is just not covered in GDExtension. So something that Fabio, one of the Godot maintainers, suggests part of the way down in this issue is that, like, hey, we could make a GDExtension that adds C++ scripting to Godot. That's like totally a thing that's doable. And so I had this in my head, and last weekend I spent like the whole weekend working on it. I was like, I actually want to try to do this because I really haven't done much with the scripting APIs in Godot, like the APIs by which you add a new scripting language. And there have frequently been issues and PRs come for GDExtension relating to the scripting API, and I'm on the GDExtension team, so I'm reviewing these issues and trying to say, like, hey, is this a good idea or not? But not knowing them, I can't. So I kind of saw this project trying to make this CPP script, as I'm calling it. I don't know if I mentioned that already, to add C++ scripting as a GDExtension to both learn the scripting APIs, and because like this might actually be useful to some people, at least to try it, right? To make it, show it to people and say, like, does this actually work for you? Is this kind of close to what you were looking for? Because, like, again, not being a person who really used GDNative or who wants to do C++ scripting, like, I can't inspect my own thoughts about what I think would be useful for that because it's just not my thing. All right, so comments that I have totally ignored. User story at work. Understood. The mystery is solved. So linked to SGPhysicsD, looks like Ricardo has dropped it in. SquarePegs ask, why is this not on GitHub, or at least mirrored? So that's like down to my personal philosophy about open source. GitHub is proprietary software. A lot of open source is hosted there, but it itself is not open source, whereas GitLab is open source. So when I am not required to for work, or like it doesn't need to be for some community reason, I'm going to personally always choose open source versus a proprietary alternative when they're roughly equal. And they are roughly equal. Like there really is, there's like one tiny feature of GitHub that I wish GitLab had, but otherwise like GitLab either meets or exceeds GitHub's features. So like it's really just, am I gonna be the Windows guy or the Linux guy? I'm gonna be the Linux guy for sure. Anyway. If someone wants to mirror it, that's fine. I mean, it's open source. I can't control what other people do. GDExtension, does GDExtension mean you could use any other language as your game scripting layer, not just C++? I'm excited to try Rust, and there are some beta bindings out there. Yes, so there is the Rust binding, which works with GDExtension. Bromian, Jan, one of the maintainers of that, is also on the GDExtension team, so deeply involved in maintaining and contributing to GDExtension. Is this the one? I always get lost. Yes, it has Bromian's name on it. It must be the one. So yeah, there are a whole bunch of bindings. There's this Rust binding. There's at least 2 Python bindings. There's a Lua and a Luau binding. Actually, the Luau binding is amazing. Where is it? Not GitHub. I typed GitHub because we were just talking about GitHub. I meant to type Godot. Sleep-deprived brain. This one isn't it. Godot, we'll say GDExtension. Anyway, I really am quite thankful for whoever made the Luau binding because it is very well done, and I have been cribbing a lot of code from it when working on CPP script, which of course I'm like on the GDExtension team, so ostensibly like I should know this stuff, but I don't. I've never done anything with the scripting API in Godot, so I'm borrowing from other folks. Does GitLab have something similar? Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Does GitLab have something similar to GitHub Actions? So GitLab has had GitLab CI for years before GitHub had GitHub Actions. It was actually before GitHub added GitHub Actions. This would be like a really amazing selling point for GitLab. Like people would talk about, oh, but I'm sure it's inferior or whatever. I'd be like, no, but look at GitLab CI, which is a really wonderful thing. But now that GitHub has GitHub Actions, I can't make that selling point anymore. But yes, it does. And Ricardo's working on integrating Julia. Yep. That is awesome. Just managed to call Godot methods without arguments and without return values. Sweet. Is that the one? Yes, it is. Fumo House. That looks familiar. Yeah, so I have been using this as my reference primarily. This and the original code for GDNative and GDScript. I've been looking at those kind of 3 things together to piece together my CPP script implementation. So yeah, I don't know. Is anyone here like a user of GDNative? Because I'd be really curious to learn more about what people really liked about GDNative, so that I can keep that in mind when I'm working on CPP script, which again is still just an experiment. Like I'm not making this necessarily to be a production thing that I'm going to maintain forever or whatever. I mean, if it turns out that people like it, and a bunch of people start using it, okay, maybe we can keep growing it into a thing. But at this exact moment, it's just an experiment. But still. Scriptpeg says, I do not use GDNative, but that is because I do not code in C++. That would explain it. Only tried GDExtension once. What did you think of GDExtension the one time you tried it, Andreas? I'm curious. Only made a module, but didn't use GDNative. So yeah, you're Limbonaut. You're way more in my kind of use case where it was I really like the experience of making modules because what I want to do is extend the engine, and I do work on the engine as a contributor or whatever, and then to be able to do that but loadable. Yeah, GDExtension. Remy says, interaction between node path and object instance in GDExtension is a little finicky, especially in resource where I can't do get node path. Interaction between node path and object. I don't think I've ever actually used node path in any of my GDExtensions. So, that might be an underdeveloped area. This sounds like something that should be an issue that we should have tracked somewhere that we can try and see if there's a way to make it less finicky. But yeah, thanks for even sharing it here, because now I have this in the back of my mind. There's something going on with NodePath that I need to maybe look at some point. Anyway, yeah, so let's take a moment to talk about how Godot's script APIs work, to kind of give you folks an idea of kind of how that works to give some context for when we start actually hacking on it. And then, yeah, I'll talk about where I'm at with my specific implementation. Andrea says, I used GD extensions to create custom mesh, but it turns out some methods are not available. So yes, some methods are not available, and that is a bug. The goal for GD extension is to allow you to do everything you can do from a module when possible from GD extension. So I say when possible because there are like a fringe number of things that we know we'll never be able to do because we cannot bend physics. But like 99.99% of the things is possible. They're just missing because no one has made a bug about it yet, and no one has written the PR to fix it yet. But yeah, everything that you can do from a module should theoretically be possible from GD extension, and if it's not, let us know so we can make that happen. Hey Arturo, welcome to the stream. It has been an exceedingly long time. How have you been doing? Yep, I'm doing game dev stuff, lots and lots of game dev stuff. I remember you had a mobile thing, and I played it, and I sent you a comment about it, but I don't actually remember in my mind what the game was. But I'd be very curious to hear about what you're working on now. Remy says, maybe yes, I need to open an issue. For now, I have a bunch of properties to get the object that I want to interact with that I set at runtime. Yeah, one of the interesting things about GD extension is that so much stuff just kind of came over automatically because we are generating the code based on this dump of the data in ClassDB from Godot. So it's like we generate the code and like, hey, that does like 80% of the things. What things doesn't it do? I don't know. No one's looked yet. So anytime there's something that it should do that it doesn't do, like please make an issue so we can get that track so we can come back around and handle it. Because it's not like someone went through each piece and like exposed it manually. Like it was code generation that got the bulk of it in there. Anyway, Arthur, I'm doing Don Dim Dum inspired on the game jam we did years ago. Ah, interesting. I'm trying to remember your jam games. Could you give like a one sentence description of it so it could maybe jog my memory about which jam game that was? But yeah, that was super fun doing those game jams. That was great. All right. So yeah, the way the Godot scripting API works. So there's a bunch of different parts. You have a script language, and then you have the individual scripts, which they are resources. So then you have to have like a resource loader. We'll just say RL, so I don't have to write the words resource loader. That like loads your script from disk into the script resource object. And then we have script instances. I apologize for my terrible, terrible handwriting. And so then when at runtime or in the editor, you need to have an object that has a script attached to it. You create an instance from that script. So in GDScript terms, the script is the .gd file, which is loaded from disk via the custom resource loader for it. The script language, I mean, this is basically like a singleton. This just exists one instance in memory somewhere. And then, you attach that script to an object, so then a script instance gets created, and that has all like the instance data, the active copy of the variables, and all that stuff. In the context of CPP script, I am basically copying the design of GDNative, which adds another resource type. I guess I'll do this in terms of CPP script here. So I'm calling it a CPP script library, which is a .cpp lib file, which is similar to like the .gdlib, was it GDNlib? GDNlib files that we had in GDNative, where you would you would put in like what is the entry point into the shared library. You'd list the shared library for all the platforms, like load this DLL on Windows, this .so file on Linux, and then for the scripts, we have CPP scripts, which are .cpp script files, which link to they have a reference to the library that they come from, and they just give like the name of the class from C++ that represents the script. So that's the basic idea. Does that make sense? Any questions? Yes, that was my proposal. I had to do it with my GDExtension test. I've forgotten the context within which that response comes from. I'm sorry, Andreas. Arturo says there's a puzzle game, Sokoban style. Won't take more of your time, but would love to catch up. Yeah, it'd be great to catch up. It would be really good. Cool. Yeah. So what game engine are you using, Arturo? I forget what you were using in the jams. Were you using Unity? I don't remember. I need to pay more attention to the comments so that I can stay more on top of things when they come in. I'm sorry about that, guys. Nyanel, if he was here, he's always telling me that I don't focus on the comments enough. All right. Oh, Arturo's rocking the Unity. Well, you know, Godot keeps getting better and better. We'll see how many more big mistakes Unity can make. But yeah, I know Unity is good technology. Certainly no reason to switch away from it if it's working for you. But I'm just saying. All right. So let's take a look at some code here. Yeah, I guess maybe we'll look at the demo for a second. So I have this little demo project. Here's my CPP lib. Is this text smaller than usual? I'll make this a little bigger just to help. So it's similar to like the .GDExtension file or the .GDNlib from GDNative, where you give the entry symbol, you say what library to load, and then I have a example script.cpp script, which again links back to that CPP lib, and then gives what will be the name of the class or the name that you register with the class. Right now, it's all fake. It's all faked. Right now, in my test library for CPP script, we're not registering classes yet. We're registering arbitrary integers because I needed to register something, right, to see like, is the data making it to the places? But the next thing really is figuring out how to register the classes. So I think that's what we're going to be messing around with today. Unity has so much assets and tutorials. Yeah, that's for sure. Like the assets thing. Hopefully that'll turn around eventually, and Godot will get more in that way. So the Godot Foundation is working on a paid asset store, which will hopefully help grow things. And then I just found out like yesterday about this Godot XC thing. Have you guys heard about this? Oh, slow page load here. But someone else, like completely not connected with the Godot Foundation, is launching this Godot engine asset exchange in 20 days, 21 hours, 36 minutes, and 5 seconds. I'm curious to see how that goes. I'm also very curious about the trademark implications here. Like, it's 100% okay to make a Godot engine asset exchange, but to name it Godot XC, I have a feeling that might violate a trademark somewhere. So we'll see. I mean, the classic Godot thing would be to call it GDExc and just be like, yeah, everyone knows that means Godot, but you're not using the trademark, so it's okay. I don't know. We'll see what comes of that. Tony Manblast's been having lots of fun with SG Physics so far. Awesome. Thanks for letting me know. That's super great to hear. If they're not based in the US, they won't have an issue. Yeah, that's possibly true. if there's somewhere where it's harder to enforce trademark stuff. Anyway, yeah. So in my implementation here so far, I have all of the bits represented, mostly just stubs that do whatever it is necessary to not crash. So we have a CPP script that defines the script resource. We have our resource loader here to load our CPP lib and CPP scripts from disk, which I guess, yeah, the CPP lib, that's this other resource, which isn't, mandated in any way by the Godot scripting API. It's just something we need for CPP script. We've got our language, which has a ton of functions on it that, like I said, we're just stubs. We return true, return false, return empty string, whatever. And then the last thing that I added was the actual instance, which has the tiniest bit of code in here to prove that it's working, which is the call p method on CPP script instance. This is what Godot would call in order to call methods on your scripts, which eventually, will be registering different methods from the C++ class. Right now, it's just saying, hey, are you calling a method named _ready? Then print ready. And it works. Let me show you the amazingness of it printing something when it's ready. Oh, it's coming. Get ready for it. It's going to be amazing. Am I ready? And it printed! Yay! Wasn't that amazing? Okay, so we need to come up with some way to actually create our C++ classes, register them, and my goal would be to be able to register a child class of Node and actually implement a ready method on it and have it get called. This will involve some amount of code generation. We're going to have to generate classes in C++ to represent node and object and all of those things. But yeah, let's see if we can make it happen. Are you ready? What's going on, chat? Nothing for me. Everyone's talking amongst themselves. Fabulous. Okay, so I'm thinking we will steal some code from Godot CPP. Godot CPP already does a whole bunch of code generation. I was debating whether we would steal this code from Godot CPP or from the old Godot CPP, the Godot 3 version, the GDNative one. But I think let's start with the one from Godot CPP because the implementations will match what we need, basically, is my thinking. So, Godot CPP. I'm sorry for all the yawning, guys. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I am exhausted. This has been an unbelievably exhausting work week, and I woke up at 4 a.m. and I'm super tired, and so my brain is not operating at full efficiency here. But bear with me. I think we'll still do some cool stuff. So Godot CPP from its S construct. Bindings generator. Okay, it's right here. So we're going to copy the bindings generator into our code here. We're going to look at Godot CPP's construct. And we're going to steal some code from here too. So from the binding generator, import here, add that up at the top. And let's see how it activates that. There's like two parts to it. There's the actually doing it part, and there is the just telling scans what files are going to be generated, so it knows how to make its big dependency tree. As build tools do, they make a big dependency tree of all the different files in your project and what depends on what, so that when something changes, it knows how to rebuild it. So I guess let's put it kind of at the top-ish. Where was it in Godot CPP? It was, oh, after setting up the flags. That makes sense. We got to set up the flags. Oh, and then actually do the generating of the bindings. Okay, so let me copy this whole thing. And we'll put this lower after we do our flags and stuff. Do it here. And we're going to need to do some other things. So we need to get the right path to the GDExtension interface.h. Do we need that? No, we don't need that. What we need is the path to the API file. This doesn't matter for us. So I think I can remove that from here. Because yeah, Godot generates this extension API.json file, which Godot CPP is using to generate its code. We're going to have to also use it to generate our code, which is going to need to be different than Godot CPP. I kept trying to think of ways that I could somehow like reuse the C++ classes that Godot CPP generates, and I went through a whole ton of options and came up with nothing. I don't think it's easily possible. I mean, it would require changes in Godot CPP itself, I think. So I think it's better this way, generating our own separate classes. Where the heck was I? So how to make this work. So this is adding the generate bindings builder. It takes this sconce generate bindings, sconce files, and here binding generator. I'm a little bit confused about the arguments to this function. Let's take a look in here and see if it starts to make sense. So target, source, env. I imagine env is passed in automatically. So then this must be target, source, these parts being the source. Yes, so it's grabbing things like that. Okay. So this would be like the first element from that source array. And what is it doing with the rest of the elements? Anything at all? Well, that's fine. That is fine. Let's see how Godot CPP is finding the API file. Get API file. And it's doing an argument thing, which we should probably do. I'm gonna just hard code it for now. Trying to think through all the possibilities for this. We'll deal with that later. So this is just going to be pointing directly into Godot CPP / I believe GDExtension. No, where is it? We can use our command line to find this. Extension API JSON. Unix for me. Okay, yep. Okay, GDExtension, I was right. I was second guessing myself, but it's /GDExtension extension API.json. Okay, so this should theoretically generate all of the code just the same way that Godot CPP does. Let's just make sure that that's happening. No such file. Godot CPP GDExtension. Oh, right, because I put it in deps. Put it in a different subdirectory than I usually do. All right, so if we can just get this running, then we can start modifying it for our purposes. It does not appear to have done it. Is it possibly because it doesn't think it needs to be built? Let's go in here and let's say bindings. which I'll put it at the beginning. Bindings. Hey, a thing happened. Not sure exactly what the thing is, but it happened. Scans generate bindings. A whole bunch of things here. Let's take a look at the code and see if it generated them. Then we'll start tearing that script up and just leave the things that we need and want. So, Jen. Hey, Jen. All right, it wrote the code. Beautiful. Things happening. Always good. I will give that several pluses. All right, so yeah, let me think about how we want the structure for this to work. So the code that we're generating is going to have two parts. It's going to have some header files that users of CPP script will use to build their own code, because they'll need to say like, okay, I want to make a script that attaches to a Sprite2D, so they'll need a Sprite2D class generated that they can, extend from. And then we're going to have the CPP files, which will do the magic to make the methods actually call into Godot. The way that looks is this. There is, make some more room here. There's a GDExtension interface function that is saying, here we're on animated sprite 3D, I don't know, I randomly picked it, trying to call the get sprite frames class. And so we call this special GDExtension interface function to get a pointer to the actual function inside the Godot engine, check that it's cool, and then we call that method, call that function pointer, and then I guess at the end, this returns a sprite frames resource. So then we are constructing a wrapper around the sprite frames resource based on the real sprite frames resource from the engine that can then be used on this side. Does these files supposed to be in Git? No, they are not. So these files will be generated when building, and the headers themselves will be distributed with CPP script so that, like, I'm imagining that you'll download like a zip file, and you'll have CPP script, and under there's going to be like libs, and that's where like lib CPP script.so is going to live, and also the DLL and all the different versions, whatever. And then there's also going to be an include directory here, which will have like, node.hpp. We'll stick with the HPP thing that GDExtension uses. So then this will all be like inside of your Godot project, and you'll build your own .so somewhere. So like my scripts .so, that's going to be linking in this so and all the header files that it uses. So yeah, we'll need to make sure that these files don't end up in Git. We'll add them to the git ignore as soon as I figure out where we want them to live. So we already have an include directory, which so far has this like dumb interface. This is going to need to get bigger. This will be like this one handwritten script, which I guess should probably be .hpp to fit in with the rest of the stuff. But I think we'll want, where do we want our generated code to end up? So Godot CPP does gen include Godot CPP. That's a good format. I like that. So everything gen will go under gen, and then we'll change this to include CPP script, and then source is where the implementations will go. That's fine. I like it. It's good. Ship it. So let's go back to our bindings generator. I guess first things first, we need to change a lot of Godot CPPs to CPP scripts. And probably I should do that in a more mass way here. Let's use VS Code's magic. Can I just find in a single file? I've never done that before. I always find like across files, but let's I guess do it in. How do I do this to not do also Godot CPP itself? I'm still kind of getting used to VS Code. My usual way would have been to do this like from the command line. Okay, well we'll do it with Vim commands is what we'll do. So this is ours. So we will say all lines replace Godot CPP with CPP script go. All right, you guys probably couldn't actually even see me writing that Vim command because it was like underneath the banner that says Discord, but it did its magic. All right. Control D to select the same text multiple times. Control D to select the same text multiple times. So like, that must conflict with the Vim key bindings. I'm using the like Vim plugin for VS Code since I came from actual Vim to start using VS Code, which is a pretty nice environment for C++. I will say. All right, so let's see. What do we need and what do we not need? We need a lot of this. We need a lot of this. I'm not sure what to do about the variant parts. Oh, and we also need these to go into a different namespace. So somewhere is namespace Godot. We need to change that to, oops, not the namespace part, CPP script. Yeah, this is going to get interesting when we are actually looking at how do we want class registrations to work. Oh, I'm just redoing things I already did. Okay. Let's delete this directory and see what happens when we regenerate this. So let me say, if I say gen, will it just do the gen directory? It will. So we have include CPP script. Sweet. The source parts. All right. So since this is copied from Godot CPP, I know that ultimately all of these classes descend from a class called wrapped, which is handwritten in Godot CPP. We will handwrite it also for CPP script, but it will be a little bit different. I'm thinking about who was it that brought up the Git thing? Andreas? Yeah, let's make sure these don't end up in Git. None of the gen code goes into Git. All right, so where will we put our handwritten thing? I guess in here. And I guess that'll be part of the CPP script interface, will it? So ultimately, it all comes back to this file, which let's rename it CP to HPP. We'll leave this for now, even though I don't think I actually want to do registration this way. And we are going to add a class called wrapped. And actually, let's get up the GDNative code. Go over to the right desktop. So I guess that would be Godot CPP, Godot 3 CPP. And I just want to take a look at how it does its wrapped HPP very, very simple. Holy cow, that's simple. Let's go look at the object HPP. Interesting. Okay, so GDNative is just way lighter weight. I think we're going to be able to chuck like a ton of stuff that Godot CPP is doing, because we just don't need to do as many fancy things. So we'll have our wrapped. We do need to keep track of an owner, that's for sure. Type tag, I guess that must be some indication of what class it is from the Godot side, what Godot engine class it is. Let me see how we want to do this here. So yeah, public. I do want to take maybe a little bit more structurally from Godot CPP and more like conceptually from GDNative. So the version here looks something like this. Yeah, and like more than just conceptually, like we're able to directly call GDExtension APIs. So like this Godot object, I think is actually from the. It is not. I had thought it was from the GDExtension interface, but it is not. Okay. So maybe what we should do is just use whatever this pointer is called on the GDExtension interface. We'll even copy it with the note. And let's include GDExtension interface, and it's like a GDExtension object pointer or something like that. Object pointer. All right, and what we really need to happen for our generated classes, this is gonna get so confusing having so many files of the same names. Let's go take a look at, for example, node, or I don't know, anything, but I'm mostly thinking about nodes here. Let's type it, node HPP, and we want the one that is in this one. All right, so this needs to change. This macro needs to change. But we just wanted to put all of this stuff in here, but a little bit differently. Yeah, so the enums are good. The function declarations are good. These var arg things, we may want to just omit these for now. We'll just comment them out or something. The register virtuals, we'll have to figure out our own way to do register virtuals. We'll steal it from Godot CPP. Variant enum cast. Yeah, okay. Let's yank just a ton of stuff out of here. Let's start. So let's start thinking about objects. Since it's the top of the hierarchy, we'll think about objects first. And what we want to happen here is to remove anything custom that's not like just standard stamped out. We want to remove the register virtuals. We want to remove these var args. We need to change the name of this macro. We'll make our own macro. All right, let's do it. So let's find the right part of the code here. Built-in bindings. Or actually, maybe let's not start with the generated code at all. So what's the thing I want to do? I want to I want to create a C++ class. I want to implement a method. I want to register it, and I want Godot to be able to call that method. Let's not even mess with the ready method. I was doing that before, but I think it might be easier to just not touch virtual methods, to just do something so agonizingly simple. Engine class bindings. Yeah, so if we don't worry about the existing methods and we don't worry about the virtual methods, we actually don't need to generate anything yet. So okay, let's come up with a plan. So if we'll do like I should just type this. This is ridiculous to draw it. It's text. So a lot of new to do in here. So step 1, let's register a class with a custom method and call it. Then we're going to generate the parent class and call a method on the parent, and then we are going to figure out virtual methods. I think that's a good order. I think that's a good way to do things. Okay, so we are going to have our wrapped class. Wrapped HPP, this one, no, not this one. Yeah, this is already so confusing. Or no, we didn't put it in a HPP. We put it in the interface. So that was CVP script interface. Okay. And how are we going to do method registration? Let's take a look at how GDNative did it. What is the easiest way to answer this question? Maybe let's find like a GDNative tutorial. We need to get to the Godot 3 docs here. Okay, so Godot class. Okay, so they're doing virtual methods, which sucks. Let's see if they have a custom method in here that we can register method. All right, so register method, is that, where is that function? What defines that? Register method, it's just a function in the global scope that does all of the magic. All right, I like it. Let's do that. So we can take this bit and we'll need our own kind of thing. Get rid of the RPC mode stuff. And we're going to need somewhere to hold this. Hey, Askyak! Welcome to the stream. And since I now know that Ash is also Askyak, right? Am I remembering that correctly? Getting a handle on everyone's 4 different usernames. All right, so we need to register a method. And this template actually isn't going to work for class methods, is it? This is going to need to be slightly more complicated. It's going to need to be something like I always forget how to write. Okay, well, we'll copy someone else. I always forget how to write function pointer types. We'll look at how. There has to be another specialization of this for. Or will that work all on its own? How do we get the class name then? Get method class name? How does that even work? Oh, that's clever. That is clever. I hate C++ templates, but that is clever. So rather than doing essentially this template on the register methods, it has a single other template whose only job is to get the class name. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, so let's copy this and put that here. Oops, it just copied the other thing again. What? What's the difference between these two? Oh, wait, get method class name. Oh, one is const and the other is not const. All right. All right, well, we'll take the non-const one first to get us started here. And we need some like registry to hold these things. So that will be. What if I missed? Tony Manblast says, oh yeah, I'm the Blast Harbor on your Discord. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. I need like a whole map. I need like a crazy conspiracy map with yarn connecting everyone's different usernames together. Daddy's Crew says that leading triple underscore is unbelievably cursed. Yeah, so we actually recently removed the triple underscore in GDExtension because it is reserved by the C++ standards group. So I don't intend to actually use it here. There's no reason to use it, to be honest, because we're like squarely in C++ land right now, and we could just put this in like a different namespace, you know, like so this should all be in namespace CPP script, except for the extern C stuff down here, which we're actually probably going to get rid of, to be honest. And then this could just be in namespace internal. Done. Oops, didn't mean to delete the whole thing. Get class name. To avoid unused parameter warnings. Interesting. And then here we can do something. We can do something like CPP or GDExtension. Wow, I can't think of words. It'd be like CPP script. Get class name. So we can avoid the triple underscore magic. Whoa, the comments. Ashton says spent the last week at a 10-day Women in Games game jam. Awesome. In a cottage in the North Swedish countryside? So I don't know what the rest of your comment is going to say, like about how this was horrible or something, but that sounds amazing. I want to be in a cottage in the countryside game jamming. That would be so cool. Just like the energy of being in a physical space secluded from the not jamming world. I love it. Working in Unity because that was what most of the team knew and spent the whole time going, why isn't this feature built in? Godot gives you this for free. And I've ended up converting some of the girls to Godot post-jam. That's awesome. I knew the double underscore was reserved. I don't think I've ever seen a triple underscore, period. we can solve this problem. We just need one more underscore. Oh, that's a problem too. No, we can solve this. We just need another underscore. Don't mess with the C++ standard reserve stuff. They do magic. Oh, that is so cool, Ashton. That sounds awesome. Logan did a similar-ish thing, not like a jam, but he was like living in a space where it was just all other game developers living in the same space, and I was like so jealous. Like, oh my god, I want to go live for a month with nothing but game developers. That just sounds like such the best energy. All right, so we need some sort of registry to actually hold these things. And I'm going to get so confused by these flat namespace things. So let's add also the classic namespace. We'll do cpp script internal and namespace cpp script. So this object to actually hold it, is that internal? Yes, that's internal. I think that's internal too. So this will be, we'll call it like cpp script class registry. Yeah, I'm starting to regret my idea that I'm going to put this all in one file, but I do think ultimately it's going to turn out to be not that much stuff. We just need to have like this tiny little bit that allows developers to register their scripts, and then everything else will be able to happen internally on the inside or via generated code. So I'm really hoping that this header will not need to actually have that much stuff in it. JavaScript over here, like, just give me one more equals operator, man. Just one more and I'll be good. Spell collective yet? Spell collective yet? The game collective in Sweden, which is a collective living environment where rent includes food and internet, and it's all indie devs. Oh, that sounds awesome. Fabio, welcome to the stream. Have you ever come to my streams before? I don't remember if you had. Yes, we are trying to build CPP script. It's happening. I really think this is a cool idea. This is a cool solution to this problem. This is entirely inspired, Fabio, by your comment on that hot reload issue in about for GDExtension. I can speak words. All right, so we need to actually register the stuff. So yeah, we need to register classes somehow, which have what is a class actually represented by? That's something we need to decide. Ah, cool. Now I have to wonder, like, did I say anything weird that, because like, okay, never mind. Frequently when we're on streams, I'm talking about like Godot issues and PRs and stuff that I'm working on or that other people I know are working on. So I'm sure that I've talked about you, Fabio, like some PR you were working on or some issue. And like, did I say anything that would be weird if like Fabio was actually listening when I said it? I hope not. All right, so we need a hash map. Oh, this is going to get so weird because, okay, so this header needs to be included in the user scripts, but I need to use some stuff from the GDExtension side that I don't want to be there. Okay, so maybe I can't actually put a class here. Maybe I have to just put a function, some functions that then on the internal side, I actually have the registry. So yeah, let's do that. So we'll say like register class, and we'll just, I guess, take a char, and then register method, which is different from the other register method. And this is going to need to take some kind of structure, which we're going to need to define. So this is going to be like method bind of some variety. Hey, the clean, welcome to the stream. And we'll get rid of the registry over here. On the other side, though, we're going to need to actually define our registry. I will put that in here. So we'll say cpp script registry. And because this is C++, we gotta copy a whole bunch of junk. Don't care. CPP script, registry. Okay, so we're gonna have a class. And what I care about right now, because like we're trying to make it so that you can register a class with a method and then call it from Godot. So I don't actually really care about the classes, to be completely honest. We care about just the methods at this point. So we'll add a hash map, which maps from, I guess, a Godot string to our idea of a method bind, which is going to be, I guess, CPP script method bind. This is on the GDExtension side. So we're going to want to use the namespace for everything that's on the CPP script side. And I guess this is even internal. So methods and public stuff. Gotta get all my includes going. So we need templates for the hash map. We need variant for the string. And we need the thing we were just creating, CPP script interface HPP, which is going to have this method bind in it. Hash map is not a template. What are you talking about? Oh, using namespace Godot. Okay, so let's do void register class. I don't know what we need to register for a class, so for now, oh, actually, these are per class. So we need a second hash map, which is going to be string, and then we're going to have like, let's say CPP script class definition. Come on, I can type. And this, does it need to be a whole class though? I like it as a whole class. Then we could have other bits of the code that just get this and yeah, don't have to call like a million getter methods or something. So this will go here. And I guess we will have now I'm wondering if it should really be a class, because like I don't want to write getter methods or anything. Let's just make this be a struct for now. We'll just let everything touch the methods in there. Or actually here, we'll keep it a class and we'll say friend class CPP script registry. And then we can have getters, but we don't have to worry about setters. So we'll have like CPP script internal. Well, I don't know. Let's not worry about the getters right now. Let's just focus on the registration. And so we'll register our script definitions. This will be classes or scripts. I'm going to call them classes to differentiate from like all of the scripting API stuff, so I don't totally completely lose my mind. But really what we're registering is scripts. We're not registering classes, but we're going to think of them as these are C++ classes we're registering, which then through some magic get turned into Godot scripts. All right, so register class. We will take, I guess, a string. What did I do? And we will have register method, which is going to take a p class name and const string p method name, and then the CPP script internal method bind. I'm getting real tired of typing that. I have not very frequently used the using statement, but I don't want to put that in a header though. Yeah, okay, we'll just stick with typing the namespace. It's fine. P method. All right, and then we're going to, well, okay, we'll worry about using it later. Let's just focus on the registering to not get totally distracted. All right, so we need a new CPP script registry, not register, registry. And include all right, so we're going to, and we need, and this has got to be a singleton. So static CPP script registry singleton. And we'll do this all Godot style here. CPP script registry get singleton. Oh, and this is, of course, a static method. And then we'll also initialize it Godot style via the constructor. Okay. So we're going to define the class here, set up the singleton, or I guess probably we'll actually initialize the singleton elsewhere where we're initializing the module. And then we're also going to implement those two methods from the interface, the register class and register method. Yeah. So first things first-ish, we need to define the storage for that singleton. So that's CPP script registry CPP script registry singleton null pointer. There we go. It's stored in this compilation unit. Then we need to implement some methods. I'll just take these ones. That one's easy enough to type. What is going on? All right, CPP script registry. And the constructor. Hello, Flame Lizard. Welcome to the stream. And Flame Lizard is that's Patty, right? The multiple username thing, I've already talked about it like 3 times today, but keeping track of everyone's many usernames. But hey, how's it going? Things are going good over here. We are experimenting with the CPP script idea. I don't know if I've told you about this, Patrick. If it's come up before, the idea of making like a GDNative style thing, but implemented in GDExtension. Yeah, I try to make it easy for people by being basically my name everywhere. I'm D Snowpeck on everything. I suppose the D is mysterious. Is that David Snowpeck or Debbie Snowpeck or Dan Snowpeck? Who knows? It could be any Snowpeck. All right, singleton equals this. Oh, and I like having the destructor to unset that. I don't know why. It doesn't really matter. Just completeness, I guess. ACAC is me almost everywhere, but increasingly I'm recognized by my actual name, which then gets confusing. All right. Okay. So let's actually say that we have a destructor before I get confused. Let's actually initialize this before I start using it without initializing it. It's a very common me mistake. Registry script registry equals null pointer. Actually, I'll put this at the end. Godot stuff first. This is completely outside of Godot. It's completely internal. And CPP script, or I don't need to do that. CPP script registry. I think we can memnew anything, right? All right, and initialized. Oh, and deinitialized. We have to always remember to do that as well. Am I doing that for the other things? Good, good. If CPP script registry mem delete p script registry. All right, I think we have boilerplated enough here. Okay, so when we want to create or register a class, all we're going to do is make this new CPP script class definition. So yeah, CPP script class definition, we'll say definition equals memnew CPP script class definition. And then we'll add it to the hash map, which I think are called classes. Yes. Insert with p name and then definition. I forget what happens if I insert something that's already there. Probably we should just avoid that entirely. So what would that be? That would be fail, error fail, condition v message. So we'll say classes has p name. Oh, not v. Get rid of that v. This is void. V is not for void. V is for value, right? So class already registered with name name. All right, what are you all complaining about? Okay, good, good. Not complaining about anything. Ooh, I missed a bunch of chat here. Patrick says, by the way, I won't be attending the next XR meeting as I will attend a family meeting. I haven't gotten anything from Freddie yet, so I'll move forward to Android Studio for my thesis. And oh, that sucks. I mean, yeah, so definitely like do what you got to do to get your thesis done. I wonder, so what is it that you're actually missing from Fredia? Like just the mechanics of the GDExtension being loaded on Android? Because I do feel like something was done with that pseudo recently, or merged with that recently. I can never remember Fredia's username. Something like that? I don't know. Nope. The GDExtension loaded on Android, but I think that was only for plugins. So, or the GDExtension is loaded on Android. So from what I remember from talking to him previously was that when you made an Android plugin, which you need to do in your case, right? You're making an Android plugin that there was an API that let you say my Android plugin contains a GD extension, and it like gives the path to it or something within the AAR. Is that AAR, ARR, AAR, whatever the compressed like bundle. And in Godot 4, it just didn't do anything. In Godot 3, like you could do the same thing with GDNatives and give it the paths, and it would actually load them. But that he actually just didn't put the bit that like grabs the list and actually loads. And I think I just have this feeling like this was merged. Or maybe it was the thing that Migran was working on, Migran. I've confused as to how to pronounce that company name. Is closed. GDExtension. Because I think so. This was Fredia's one where he changed how Android plugins are packaged, but that's just like a relatively minor thing. But then I think it was actually Migran who maybe connected the last bit, or maybe not. Maybe that still needs to be connected by Freddie at the end. Anyway, it's super close. It's super close if it's not. Hey, Fabio's got the right username there. M4 GR. So I've been meaning to ask Freddie for like 4 years at this point. What is his username supposed to be pronounced as? Like it seems like it's one of those things where you like replaced letters with numbers, but I just cannot conceptualize it. If I could come up with a way to say this username, I bet I could remember it, but I just don't know how to say it. So nothing in progress. But yeah, I think it's a really like tiny thing. More greed? Maybe. Margaret. Maybe. Could be Margaret. I don't know. But if it's just this last bit though, M4th read. If it's just this last, if the last thing remaining though is just this loading of the GD extensions from, I think this is a very simple thing. I think this is a very simple thing to add. All right, we've gone off on the username Magred, like a red Magred. Me for greed. I like that one, the clean. I gotta ask Freddie. I'm pretty sure he's coming to the XR team meeting tonight. He usually makes those. So I will ask him. Today is the day that I finally ask him how it's meant to be pronounced. Magred as in Maglev? Yeah, I mean these are all possibilities and or hilarious options. But yeah, I guess to summarize, Patrick, I think it's not that much more work to connect that last piece. But yeah, I think here's what I will say. Do what you need to do your thesis, which if that's just going over and doing it all in Android Studio, like awesome. Afterwards, I really hope that you come back to the Godot side and can use like this new knowledge about how to use AR Core, like, because after using AR Core like for real, you'll have a way better idea of how it works, and then figure out these last bits so that we can actually get it loading in Godot. That is so. Like, first of all, look after yourself always. But like, yeah, I hope that that you end up coming back and closing the loop on the Godot side as well. You don't have to, of course, optional. But yeah, that would be awesome. Okay. What was I even doing, guys? Why are we here? Who am I? Okay, so we were registering these. All right, then we need to register methods. So another error fail condition message. We need to say if not classes has p class name, then no class registered with name p class name. All right, and then we will get the class definition. P class name. And because we did this fail before, I think we're okay to use just get. The get on a hash map has this wonderful property of crashing the entire engine if the thing you're looking up doesn't exist, which is why usually I use the get pointer, which maybe I should here too. That does kind of work as well. I could say, no, whatever. I already wrote the code this way. We're sticking with it. It's not that important. Oh yeah, a whole bunch of stuff like didn't make it over from YouTube to the other services. So for everyone who's watching from Twitch or Facebook or Steam or any of the other millions of places that I'm restreaming this to, Patrick said, yes, I think it's not that much work, but I have no idea how I would add a Godot plugin and add all the support for the different functionality I need. In Android Studio, I would already. Or no, actually, that did come through. I'm sorry. That did come through on the other services. I don't know what didn't make it through. Non-unknown. Hey, dude, sup? I've seen a lot of your lives on GDExtension lately. What are you doing overall? So, overall, I'm on the GDExtension team, and I'm doing things to make GDExtension better, but also I have a couple, well, one at this point, GDExtension that I maintain, a couple of other things that I want to port over to GDExtensions, and today we are working on an entirely new project that I just kind of bootstrapped this last weekend to add C++ scripting, adding C++ as a scripting language to Godot, similar to how GDNative worked in Godot 3, but implementing that as a GDExtension. So it's a GDExtension that implements GDNative. And you can go back in the playback and see the whole explanation for that. But basically the idea is there's like two different use cases here. GDExtension is for creating essentially dynamically loadable modules. Whereas like modules, are things compiled into Godot, and GDNative was more about like writing your game logic and your scripting. And so GDExtension does a great job of being a dynamically loadable module, but not a great job at being a good like gameplay scripting solution. So yeah, that's what this is. That's what we're working on. Patrick says, all right, I definitely won't go out on Godot. I have more things in mind for art tech and shaders as well as docs for GDExtension. Awesome. I would hate to see you go. It's been great collaborating with you and chatting with you in all of the different other forums. So yes. Non-unknown. Damn, I made a proposal for that a long time ago. Cool. I did not see your proposal. I actually saw, I got the inspiration for this from a comment that Fabio put on a issue about GDExtension and the sort of GDNative people being upset about it, I would love to send the link for your proposal because, yeah, I would link my thing to your proposal somehow so all the people can find it on the internet. All right. So, where did I leave off here? There is some coding in this coding stream, I swear. So now we need to just add this method. Oh, but we also need to check that the method doesn't already exist. So let's add another error fail condition. So we need to check that the definition dot methods. Oh no, that's actually right. VS Code completed my code by fixing it, by making it actually right. All right, awesome. So p method name. The format, we'll say class has no method registered. There's no, how am I going to sneak the name in there? Has no method named. We'll just say no method named that. Yeah, and thanks so much to Patrick for doing that work on the docs. We need more doc stuff going on. I'm actually thinking, so distracting myself again. I'm sorry. After I'm gonna work on porting the Godot rollback netcode add-on to Godot 4, and then I'm gonna try to make the 2 videos to finish out that series, which is like a year and a half since I've made an episode in that series. But I'm thinking about making some videos too about GDExtension stuff. Like we were talking about doing that examples repo of like, okay, here's 10 different examples for 10 different things you can do with GDExtension. I might do some like bite-sized videos of like, here's how you do blah with a GDExtension, which, yeah, may be fun, may be helpful. I hope one or the other or both. Yeah, we need all of the kinds of docs, more of them. Okay, p method name, p method bind. Okay, or just p method. All right, so this is our little registry. 2 final things. I'll actually put them up at the top. We need to implement those functions from the interface. So no, I'm in the wrong place again. Okay, so in this interface, we have these 2 methods, which should probably be C linkage, which means that I can't put them in the namespace. Whatever. I'm going to worry about linkage stuff later. We'll just do it. That's an easy enough thing to fix later. So I want to be in this CPP file. So this is void CPP script internal register class. And now we're getting the const char p name. And I guess we need to say if singleton. Is it possible for this to happen before the singleton is ready? I think not, actually, because no matter what, CPP script, the GDExtension, is always going to be loaded before any of the actual CPP scripts can be loaded. But whatever, I'm going to check. Am I going to check? I'm going to check. If singleton, then we'll do singleton. Or no, I have to do, okay, I actually have to do it. I was looking at this variable and thinking it was like a static variable for the, like a static for the compilation unit variable, but it is not. I actually have to grab it because it's a static variable on the class. And it's probably if we're gonna check, we should probably make an error if it's false. So all right, error, fail, cond v, registry. We'll say CPP script registry is not available. All right, so these functions help us cross the border from CPP script land into GDExtension land, where in CPP script land, we're going to have like our own string class. There's going to be a CPP script string, and then over here, we're turning these into Godot CPP strings to operate on the GDExtension side. This is going to be a very brain twisty project. Ooh, what have I been missing? Shouldn't it be the other way around? When you register a method, it shouldn't exist in the registry. You may be right. Let me see. So register method. You are right. Yes, you are right. Absolutely. Thank you, Limbo Not. Catching my stream brain. I have a theory that when programming while streaming, I become at least 20% stupider, if not 50%, because there's a certain amount of just like performing in public that sucks up your brain power. So already has a method named. Beautiful. What else did I miss? We have a CMake one, the one from Nathan Frank, with the current master in mind for point releases. Absolutely. By the way, will your script be available to write inside the editor or only externally? So we could make it run inside the editor. That's like literally a Boolean. If we go look at yeah, so there's some. Actually, maybe it's not a Boolean. I'm not sure what overrides external editor means, but I'm pretty sure there's a way that we could declare CPP scripts as being editable in the code editor. Whether or not it's this specific method, I think it's actually not. I was remembering weird. But I don't know that makes sense. Like, I don't know that we would want people to edit C++ in Godot's code editor because the we're not going to be able to get like nice autocomplete or syntax highlighting, and it, I think we could get build tool integration, possibly actually. We could make it so that when you run your game, it would like automatically compile beforehand where you configure, run scans or run make or whatever. But I don't know if it makes sense to edit it in the editor. We certainly could, though, I think. I don't know. So you could write the files inside the editor, then compile them and run the game. Yeah, I think that's possible. I just don't know if writing it in the editor makes sense. I mean, I guess we could yes. So it'd be not unknown rights. How the compilation will work in CPP script. I mean, you have to compile for each platform. It's complex. Yeah. So you would need to do the same as that you did with GDNative and Godot 3, that you would, while in development, you'd be compiling and running on your platform, but then when you wanted to distribute the game, you would need to come up with some way to compile on all the other platforms. Compiling a CPP script, though, will be much easier than compiling like Godot, or I think even a GDExtension. So we could maybe do something fancy with Docker, where we could have like some Docker images that are set up to do vanilla building and be able to generate builds for a couple of platforms. The problem that comes into that is dependencies. Although, again, in the context of CPP script, which has a different use case than GDExtension, maybe you won't have any dependencies, right? Because this is for writing game logic. So maybe like some just vanilla build chain Docker images could do it, and we could, put a button in the editor that says like run build on these platforms and do it. I mean, since this is a GDExtension, of course, like we can also have new editor plugins and stuff that we stick into the editor when people are using CPP script. I do like the idea of including, potentially like optionally including whole tool chains, because we could, once you have CPP script enabled, we could add like a thing to the editor which is like, I don't care what my tool chain is, just hit this button and grab me a C++ compiler, and then we could have it like download it and put it somewhere, I don't know, in like the editor's storage, and then hit a button and run it with some generic commands. Because again, like it's game scripting, so like we don't necessarily need to get as complicated with tool chains as you otherwise would. Of course, like C++ developers are super opinionated and specific, and I'm sure that there's lots of people who are like, I want to use Visual Studio to develop my code, and that's fine. I think we could potentially, if this goes beyond the level of experiments, because right now it's just an experiment, we could potentially support like a really wide variety of workflows. All right, I know we're like only 20 minutes left on the stream, but I really need to run to the bathroom. I will be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Just needed the focus to end strong, to end this stream strong. All right. So what was I doing? We were ultimately trying to register some stuff. Yeah. So I had just written the internal register class. Okay. And actually, I put this at the top, but now I'm thinking I'll put it at the bottom. Maybe separate it, put a little comment here. So this would be like CPP script interface HPP. When I came back and looked at the two register class functions right next to each other, I was very confused. And these ones are just kind of like forwarding methods anyway, so we can hide them away a little bit. CPP script internal register method, and this took const char name and a CPP script internal method bind. Or wait, it has to take the class name and the method name. I think I may have omitted that in my... Yeah, I think I omitted it because we were going to do that template trick on that side to get the class name, but I didn't think about that we actually need to pass it here. Okay, so register method. All right, now this needs a slight change. Okay, so going all the way back up to our register method. This is the one that developers will actually call to register their methods. And I guess we need a register class that they will call. Which, let's go with the template thing again. So that we don't want developers necessarily to be typing strings when they don't have to. If we can derive the names, then let's do that. So then this would be, I guess this calls to the other register. This calls to the internal register class, and it does T. We're going to have a CPP script class name static function to get those from, and then here, I still feel like we're going to need to do that. This template's going to need to get more complicated. Like, this is clever that we stole from GDNative, but I don't know. I just have a feeling like long term it's not going to work. I guess we'll stick with this for now because we're trying to call a method without arguments, at least initially. So register method T CPP script class name, and then the internal get method class name. Oh wait, no. I'm confusing myself. Okay, so this is this. Hang on. And let's make this consistent. So CPP script get class name. And then this magically figures out the class name from the type of the method pointer. So then that's internal get method class name from the method pointer. So class name, method name, and we need to create a method bind. So this would be internal method bind m, which, yeah, we have to figure out how that works. I don't know how that works yet. Let's just pass it along. Let's just get all the pieces connected here. All right. That looks connected. Most pieces look connected. All right. So then the next part is that we're going to have. Let's go to our demo. Here we go, demo. We have our example script, register CPP scripts. Okay, so we're going to imagine that we're going to make a new class. This is going to be my node. it descends from public wrapped, which we just made up. It's going to have a method on it, void my awesome method. And I guess for simplicity, let's just have it printf. This is awesome. Oh, and this is CPP script wrapped. Why does that not find that? Like this, oh, because we changed it from H to HPP. All right, and printf, that's stdio, right? Gotta keep your C headers straight. Okay. So then this whole interface thing, I think, is not a thing. Well, yeah, we need to have our CPP script link against the GDExtension for a couple of reasons. But because we're doing that already, I think we actually don't need to mess around with passing in interface struct or anything like we do with GDExtension. I think we can just straight up call the methods. So this would be CPP script, register, and maybe now that we're in CPP script land, maybe we need to even just say using namespace CPP script. So when we're editing these files, we're just assuming CPP script. So then register method, or okay, register class first. My node, register method. It's going to be my awesome method. That's going to be my node, my awesome method. All right, and this is going to not work initially because we need to define all the stuff that makes our special script classes our special script classes. And that includes, well, the way that we're going to do that is by making a macro, which is going to be like CPP script class. I'm in a constant debate with myself whether it should be CPP underscore script or CPP script all crammed into one thing. Like, I don't know what looks better, what seems right. I mean, I've definitely used the underscore in a lot of places, but then like in the namespace, I just did like this. I'm gonna go with that for now. And we need the name. And all right, let's take a quick peek at what GDNative is doing for this, because I think I like the sort of simpler way. Oh, it's Godot subclass and Godot class. Yeah, so we are going to do at least the top parts of this, these two things. And in fact, let me just copy and paste them, and then we'll modify them. So this is going to be CPP script class. Or actually, script class, I mean, it's CPP. This is a CPP script. I don't know. I like the class, though. Seems more explicit. CPP script class. Doesn't C++ have a feature like C# partial class? I mean, registering methods and classes could be automatic, or that's too much. So C++, as far as I know, does not have a thing like that. C++, vanilla C++, has no reflection of any kind whatsoever. If you have RTTI enabled, there is some amount of reflection, and I guess I'm going to presume that developers will probably have RTTI enabled, given that I think it's enabled by default in this day and age. But the RTTI only gets you a little bit of stuff anyway. I mean, namely, it lets you identify what class a particular pointer is, which is a big deal. I don't know what else you can get, though. I don't think you can get a list of methods. At least I'm not aware of it. Any other C++ heads have more info on that? Patrick says, I will have to go. Wish a good day to everyone. Looking forward to the results of the XR meeting. Do you mind giving me a TLDR after the meeting? Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's always official notes during the XR meeting, and if there's anything that you want me to bring to the team, also like let me know. I can do that as well. But yeah, thanks for coming. Catch you later. Oh yeah, and he says, or I'll read the meeting notes. Yeah, there's always some detail missing in the meeting notes, but all right, so we renamed this stuff. This is now CPP script get class name. It's going to return our m name, and class is script. I think that's all that we need to. I really thought the .clang format in my at the root of my project would have helped with that. Actually, wait, hang on. No, I guess I'll go this way. I just realized there's another thing we need to do here. We need to switch the access modifier back to private before we exit the macro. Just gonna go compare. Yeah, it also does that similarly. Okay, so then here we do CPP script class. My node, and we're going to imagine that it descends from node, even though it like absolutely totally doesn't. Doesn't matter, our macro doesn't use it yet. I'm not sure, not unknown, was that a question for Patrick about something you guys were talking about earlier? I'm not sure what you mean. When you do the first PR with those changes, is it too much if you provide a fast, simple tutorial on how to test and give you feedback bug? I guess I don't understand the question. So what I'm working on right now is not going to be a PR to anything, because CPP script is like a new project that I'm making using GDExtension. I certainly make lots of PRs for Godot and for Godot CPP. It would be interesting, honestly, to make a tutorial about like a good way to make PRs for Godot, given that all projects are different. So like what you do for Godot, isn't exactly the same as what you would do for another project. Although, I mean, there are similarities in that if you get good at making nice issues for one project, you'll probably be pretty good at making nice issues and PRs for another project. No, so I mean, this is not modifications to Godot CPP. Like I said at the top, though, I mean, I'm on the GDExtension team. I'm among the group of people who maintain Godot CPP. So like, I don't know if there's Godot CPP things, issues that you have or things that you want to contribute. I'm certainly excited about hearing about those things. But no, this is implementing an idea that I think might help folks coming from Godot 3 and GDNative find a similar workflow over in Godot 4 land. Anyway, this code's not going to work. Like, I bet I'm going to run this and it's gonna crash. But let's see what happens. Terminated because of errors. All right. Yeah. I think, though, guys, the stream has to come to an end because I have to go do other things. I need to take a little break and eat some lunch before I have a work meeting. But I think we accomplished a lot. We did not get to the point where we're actually registering a method or calling a method, but we're like this close. I think this is like maybe 2 more hours of work away from having a thing that actually runs. It would just be a matter of, doing whatever little changes are necessary to get this to compile, some little dumb thing. I forgot const or somewhere or something, the usual C++ things. And then just a slight change over in our script instance class to actually like look up and call the method. We're super close. I would guess like 2 to 4 hours away from having the ability to make a CPP script, register a class, and call a method, which is super exciting. I think if I do manage to find the time to stick with this, I think it's maybe a week or 2 away from like being a thing that people can test and try. And yeah, I'm excited. Thank you everyone for coming to the stream. Will there be a follow-up stream? Yeah, I mean, I try to stream every week. I don't recall if I have anything conflicting next week, but I always announce on Thursday if I will be streaming on Friday, and quite possibly we'll be working on this next stream. I'm not sure. So I try to stream things that I think will be interesting to people, but I sort of came to this realization that I shouldn't try to do that, and I should just stream whatever the heck I'm excited to work on at the time. So possibly it will still be this. Possibly it will be something else. But yeah, there will very likely be a stream next week. This is my 90th stream, if you can believe that. I've done 90 of these. So I'm going to keep doing them. Yeah, a GD extension to make it easier for people to write GD extensions. Thanks so much. Thanks, everyone. I hope you have a great weekend. Take care, and I will see you next time or on the Discord. Is this way? Or on the Discord, or both. Take care. Bye-bye.